Hello darling hearts, it's Gaps Coach Emma here, Timeless Cookery. I know this isn't going to be a popular subject, and it's not actually my intention to be popular. It's my intention to try and get us all through this war on human consciousness and actually awaken to full potential, to our full potential as human beings. So potatoes, what's that all about? So believe me when I say, you know they ask security questions when you're going through a thing and they're like mother's maiden name, favourite pet, no, pet's name or whatever, and then they say favourite food. I would always say mashed potato, because that's what my mummy brought me when I was poorly. My mummy would bring me a bowl of smash. For mash, get smashed. That was the advert in the 70s with these little alien beings with like saucer-shaped heads advertising the processed mashed potato, and she'd mix that with some milk and some egg yolk and some cheese, and I would have it with ketchup, and I loved it. And so if I was sick in bed, and I seem to remember being sick in bed quite often, having flu-like symptoms or cold or twisting my ankle, I used to go over on my ankles all the time when I was growing up. My brother used to call me Bambi because I was always like, whoa, oh, I wasn't very steady on my feet. Anyway, mash, my favourite food, but I'm questioning whether we're supposed to be eating potatoes. It's a big question, and you might just switch off now, or you might be interested in thinking about why potatoes are so ubiquitous and why there are always fries and crisps. Every street corner is like a staple, isn't it? I just planted 4 rows this year. We've just harvested. We've got 4 sacks of potatoes in the stores, and I'm like, should we be eating them? I really am asking myself that question because, look, I met a French man about 10 years ago or so. He was quite ahead of his time. He was selling that like powdered toothpaste that had no fluoride in it about 15 years ago, 20, and so he was a bit ahead of his time. And I said to him, blah, blah, potatoes. He went, potatoes? I wouldn't bother. I was like, what do you mean? He said, I just wouldn't bother with potatoes, or if you do, make sure you serve them with plenty of butter and soured cream and any other dairy fats and, plenty of fats. Have plenty of fats with them. Now I know what he was talking about, which I'll go into in a minute. So that was about 10 years ago, or maybe a bit longer, that I was like, why did he say that about potatoes? What's the deal with potatoes? Let's look at the history of the potato, shall we? Well, from a European perspective anyway, it supposedly arrived with Sir Walter Raleigh, who was, let's face it, a sort of paid... He was a pirate, basically, who was given permission by Queen Elizabeth I to pillage and rob stuff and go off and adventure, and she paid him to go off and see what there was to be had. He was a pirate. Anyway, he came back in, was it 16-something, with potatoes and tobacco from the New World. And it took Europe about 200 years to really embrace the potato. I'm just imagining people embracing potatoes. But to really accept them as a staple, it took about 200 years, and then they did get accepted, and then they made Ireland, the land of the Celtics and the Druids and the magic people, they got Ireland hooked on potatoes, and then the potato famines, took it away, and see what happens. But they'd been weakened by having potatoes as a staple because they're full of oxalates, and I know I keep on banging on about oxalates, but when I was a farmer, my pigs, the guy who gave me the sow and the boar said, don't give them potatoes. Don't think you can keep a pig survived on potatoes, right? Because you can't. They won't make it. They won't breed. It'll all go wrong. I was like, oh, why is that? And he went, I don't know, but don't do it. I was like, okay. Because like potatoes, when they go green, we all know they're poisonous, don't we? When they've gone green, you can't eat them. They're poisonous. Raw potatoes are poisonous. What makes us think that raw potatoes, cooked potatoes, are not going to be poisonous if the raw one's poisonous? There's some questions there. I really need to ask myself these questions. Potatoes are part of the deadly nightshade family, the nightshade family, of which there is a plant called deadly nightshade. We all know about deadly nightshade. It's got little tiny black berries that look a bit like blueberries, shiny, really enticing, but dangerous, will kill you. One day I was walking around a tiny little garden, a permaculture garden, when we were woofing around Europe. When the kids were little, we took off. We took a yurt and a van and we went off around Europe working on organic farms to learn how to husband the land, and the kids were really tiny. I didn't want them to go to school, so I was like, let's get out of here. So we woofed. Worldwide opportunities on organic farms. It's a lovely, lovely organisation. I used to be a director of Woof UK because I wanted to promote this way of exchanging work for board and lodging. It's a great thing. So yeah, Billy and I were walking around this. She was 1.5. She was toddling around behind me, and I was not thinking, for crying out loud. I was walking around this garden sampling rocket leaves and little baby salad leaves, and I was popping them in my mouth, and she was following me and copying me, because that's how children learn, by example. She was following her mummy and doing what her mummy was doing. So it was a spiral garden. It was really beautiful. We came out of the spiral. I walked out the spiral. I turned around to look at her. She was standing there, ashen, pale, shaking like a leaf. Her little knees were shaking and her body was shaking. I was watching her going, what's going on? What's wrong with my baby? What's happening? You know, she suddenly went like that. And this bolus of mucus came out of her mouth and landed on the floor like a kind of jelly cocoon. I picked it up and I unwrapped it, and inside was a deadly nightshade leaf. It was still in its original shape. They're sort of slightly shaped like a pointed arrow head kind of thing. And I was like, Jesus, she just ate a deadly nightshade leaf. And I was like, wow, look what her system did. Her body immediately wrapped it up in mucus to protect her from the poisons, and then made her vomit it up. In a matter of minutes, literally. Genius. Our bodies are just amazing. Our bodies are capable of remarkable regeneration and healing. We underestimate the power of our bodies, and when we get these inflammatory reactions, we think, oh no, I've got to stop that symptom, that's no good, I'm not well. That's your body doing its work. Your body is working, but the trouble is we're so poisoned, and we do it to ourselves, which is what I want to talk about in a minute. We do it to ourselves, we poison ourselves, and then live in permanent pain, and we're like, I've got to get rid of the pain, I can't live. It's like, fair enough, you want to try and get rid of those symptoms, but really it's your body having an inflammatory reaction, which is part of the healing process. We're not supposed to feel like that all the bloody time. Hi Fiona, hi Karen, hi Aggie. So yeah, I know what you're saying. Get rid of the symptoms. We want to feel like we're getting rid of the symptoms. What I'm asking is, I'm asking about oxalates in potatoes. So oxalates are a natural plant toxin, right? Because the plants don't want you to eat their babies, right? And we've learned to work with plants to keep us going in times of trouble or lean times. You know, we can eat anything, we're omnivores. We've worked out the way to prepare these foods to make them relatively safe, you know, fermenting and cooking and things to take the poisons out. But we've been encouraged to go plant-based, haven't we? Like, you get your 5 a day, you get plenty of veg down you, plant-based, plant-based, plant-based. Plants have got toxins in them, and those toxins can build up in your body, especially if you're not getting the building blocks from the animal products to build your body of strong stuff. Then you get weak, and then the toxins can really build up quickly, you know? So, yeah, what I'm asking is, so these crystals, these oxalate crystals, which are naturally occurring in things like rhubarb, oxalic acid, you must have heard of that. Oxalic acid, when it's actually refined, is used to clean engines. It's like a carbolic, is it carbolic acid? No, I can't remember what they call it. Anyway, oxalic acid crystals, that's what's in kidney stones, that's what gets in your joints when you've got bad arthritis. These oxalic acid crystals lodge in your body, especially around scar tissue. So, you know, if you've had lots of pregnancies or a cesarean, or, you know, if you've had injuries as an athlete or whatever, the oxalate crystals, if you're eating high oxalate foods, which is like chocolate, peanut butter, spinach, potatoes, sweet potatoes, peanuts, I've said peanuts, and peanut butter, obviously, almonds, almond milk, and, you know, if you think you're being healthy by having an almond milk, spinach, chocolate smoothie or whatever, it's like, no, watch out, because you'll be overdosing on oxalates, and your body can excrete a certain amount, but it can't do it day on day on day if you're constantly getting all these so-called superfoods down you, you know. So what I'm asking is, when the oxalates are lodged in our bodies as crystals, what makes us think that they're not affected by the EMF frequencies? That's the question I'm asking. It occurred to me, you know? And so then they're vibrating and it's exacerbated, and then you're getting more pain. It's a thought, you know? Anyway, I'm like, let's get these damn things out of us, shall we? Let's stop putting them in to begin with, and then work on getting them out. There are protocols, you know. It's a journey. This isn't a quick fix, because we've been poisoned for decades. When I say poisoned, you know, who knows why suddenly these things are seeming toxic to us when we've been eating them the last 200 years? Well, the only thing I can think of, the difference, is the EMF frequencies. Anyway, it's all hypothetical and who knows, but what I do know is I have got high energy. I'm 54 years old. I can bounce around like a teenager. I literally feel better than I did in my 20s, 30s and my 40s at 54, because I have grabbed the bull by the horns, taken full responsibility for my health by choosing what goes in here. And I'm not eating to live. I'm not living to eat. I'm eating to live. Yeah, that's it. So I don't eat very much, and it's often good quality, high fat animal products. Like I'm just about to eat some raw liver pills and milk kefir eggnog with raw egg. That sounds disgusting, but there comes a point where you're like, I know what I want because I know what makes me feel good, and I don't care what I'm supposed to be eating or what I've been eating in the past or what I'm used to eating. I just want to feel good. I don't want to be in pain. I want to be free to get on with my life and do all the things I want to do. So if you want to join me and like-minded people, I'm not going to say eat liver pills. I'm not going to say eat eggnogs. I'm just going to show you a way that you can avoid the toxins and also bring lush, delicious meals into your kitchen with the stock pot. You know, it's very simple. It's very simple. Stock pot, some fermented dairy, fermented veg. GAP's nutritional protocol really gives you a firm foundation for, you know, strength. And I'm offering amazing deal, one-to-one coaching with Get Going with GAPS, which is my core teachings on the GAPS app, with the video vault, with the support group. That's all packaged. It's only £33 a month. It's an absolute bargain. And on top of that, when you're a member of the club, you can get one-to-one coaching with Feed the Fam for Less, which is what everyone's trying to do at the moment because it's like the spennies are a bit tight, and Good Mood Foods and Plant Toxins, which explains about all of these plant toxins and explains how you can avoid them and explains how you can mitigate the damage. And, you know, so if you're interested, say yes in the comments and let me know. Please spread the word and, you know, get the message out there. I'm about to move home and I desperately need money for the deposit. So I'd love to work with you, and I'm making this this amazing deal, which is only available for the next couple of weeks in September. So let me know if you're interested. Say yes, please, in the comments, and I'll get back to you. Because we all need to become aware of the oxalate issue. It's been a massive eye-opener to me, and I've been really shocked by it. But now, the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking, there's something going on here. It's very interesting. See Timeless Cookery Club YouTube for an interview with Low Ox Grandma, who's a lady in her late 60s who has had decades of horrendous surgeries and problems and feeling terrible. She went low ox 3 years ago, and she is a powerhouse of... She's quite militant, actually, in her message to get the message across that oxalates are extremely damaging. We need to look out for them. But it's a great little interview, quite entertaining, on my Timeless Cookery YouTube channel. And, you know, nip over to Insta and follow me at Timeless Cookery as well for some quick, fun tips about food as medicine. And yeah, spread the word, darling hearts. Like, share, comment, give the algorithm a kick up the arse. Lots and lots of love to you, and I'll see you soon.